For more insight on Kenya's August 9th election, James Ngundi, an adjunct professor of African Studies at Georgetown University, joins me live via Skype from Columbia, Maryland. Professor Ngundi, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Esther.
Now, you've watched the presidential campaigns. They are hot right now, and you've also read the manifestos of the 4 presidential candidates. But let's look at the 2 frontrunners, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and let's start with him. What would a Raila Odinga presidency mean for Kenyans?
Thank you again. Very briefly, let me say that I am not sure what Raila presidency brings or does not bring, because there is the element of perception and there is the element of reality. But that being said, I have to give credit to Raila and the history that he brings to the table. He's a man who has been in the ditches fighting for liberation. He fought hard to get a new constitution. And so he has a reputation of working hard to bring rights to ordinary Kenyans. He would also be the first detainee, really, political detainee, to ascend to the highest office on the land. So I think he does have some strong credentials. Now, whether he has the opportunity or whether he's the right person at this time in the history of Kenya, remains to be seen.
So let's turn to Deputy President William Ruto, who has touted his bottom-up economic approach to lift the welfare of millions of Kenyans who are poor. What would a William Ruto presidency mean for the Kenyans?
I would say for most Kenyans who are looking for change, a Ruto presidency really signifies or symbolizes a break with the past. Kenya, as in many other African countries, has been ruled by a very small number of individual families, and Kenya is no different. So I think for many Kenyans, just having a Ruto presidency, that would mean a break from the Kenyatta, the Moi, the Odinga families that have dominated the political scene, and particularly the highest offices on the land. So I think he does bring that break from the change. He does seem to represent a good number of the lower classes in society. Whether he actually espouses those qualities that he claims to represent remains a big question, given that these 2 individuals, both Raila and Ruto, are known quantities. They are not strangers to Kenyans, and whether they represent what they say is a big question Kenyans will have to answer.
So, Professor, what are the core issues that Kenyans are concerned about right now, regardless of who wins the presidential election on August 9th?
I think first and foremost is peace in the land. Without peace, I mean, that's the biggest ingredient that Kenyans will need to go forward. But outside that, there is also the question of the high cost of living. Kenya is suffering from the same issues that the rest of the world, and particularly poor countries, as in African countries, are suffering. So I think high cost of living remains a big challenge. There's no question part of that is due to high level of corruption. And therefore, Kenyans will be looking to see the next president, the next government, to really confront this monster that is called corruption and that has bedeviled the country for decades, with promises that have gone unfulfilled in terms of fighting corruption. So I think those are the 3 major issues that Kenyans will be looking to see solved by the next government.
And very briefly, Professor, your thoughts on the media coverage of the 2 presidential candidates. There have been concerns about even the mainstream media taking sides. What should be happening right now? Because social media is also a force to reckon with, whether they are saying the truth or not the truth.
And I think social media is going to be a big player in this election. Love it or hate it, it's just the reality of where we are today. As far as the mainstream media is concerned and the coverage, I think that has become the song lately that every candidate will cry for when it comes to the kind of coverage they receive from media.
Right.
So that's not unusual. But I think at the end of the day, social media, more than the mainstream media, may have a huge impact on the results and what goes on after the election in Kenya.